So BTC at 88K. Finally, we're out of that 84 pain that we saw the whole of last week. So now what happens next, guys? This is a major area for BTC. This is the time where some of the bears are going to step in. Are they going to send us to hell, or are we going to break right through? So guys, I'm covering this in detail for you. I'm going to give you my trading plan. I've got tons of altcoin setups here. We might be leaning into a couple of shorts again after the latest pump, but we've got you covered on all sorts of things. So much to talk about here on a Monday. Let's get right into it. Guys, and remember, as always, hit the like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And guess who's back finally from vacation? He's here. He's been gagging to throw us some alpha at us. It might be a little bit bearish today, but good to have him back. The man is here. We call him the alchemist. Okay, we're going to hear from him now. And James is obviously in the house as well. Still bullish, from what I understand. No changes there. No, he's bullish. But Banter Bubbles, super bullish at the moment, but is this going to be short-lived? So just, I mean, let's just enjoy this. I mean, and it's been a very long time since I got to push this bullhorn. It's a wonderful thing that we finally get some movement. My Sui trade finally woke up. Look at this thing, 7% up. Cass is cooking. Everything is cooking. We don't even have to get too selective here. Everything is looking good at the moment. Are they going to come and kill us? Chaos seems to think so, actually. So we're going to bring him in. We're bringing him in a couple of minutes. Let's go. Let's look at where we are with BTC. So look, so far so good in terms of a breakout for BTC. I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't send us down first. So what I was looking for yesterday, ideally, was a move down into the lows. What I felt was going to be the most bullish play for me was going to be some kind of dip on BTC into these types of zones and then the bullish pump. That was my dream scenario that I wanted to see leading into the Asian session. And what did they do? They just came flat out. They didn't even come and take out these lows from last week, Wednesday. They didn't take out the previous weekend lows. They just sent it higher. So in terms of me feeling a little bit edgy about the price action, I'd have to say I'm probably about a 7 to an 8 out of 10 at the moment in terms of how edgy I'm feeling with this current pump. I'm feeling a little bit nervous about it. I see Liquid Lycan is in the house as well. PMG George is here, and he's not happy with USDT dominance. Apparently, it's about to fall over. So that's not necessarily the worst news I've ever heard. But let's talk BTC. So we're finally at our 200-day moving average. This is our 88K zone, and this is the start of the big liquidity area that I've been talking about now for the last couple of weeks. This is always going to be, or was always going to be, a big zone for us where we're expecting some kind of fight. So in terms of the 2-hour chart, I'm expecting some kind of rejection here. We've got our anchored VWAP 89,300. I would like to see a rejection in that zone. Now, is this the start of a major rejection to the downside, or is it going to be a short-term bullish pullback? Well, for me, a lot of it's going to depend on a little bit of news coming out at the moment. So what we know is the S&P is not doing very nicely. We got a couple of tariff issues going on, but the Bitcoin and gold seems to be doing really well. So it depends now. The type of pullback we get, for me, is going to depend on the severity of the next bit of news that we get out of these politicians and what happens next. But in terms of my current plan, I'm looking for a rejection in this region anywhere between this 89 to 90K zone. That whole region for me is a danger zone. That is a bear zone for me. And then we're going to have to play it accordingly, or we'll play it by ear as to where we're going to get our next moves on BTC if we do reject. So right now, 88 to 90K, big danger zone for me there, guys. Then current support, if we reject right now, what are we watching? 85K, then I've got 83,800, and I've got 83K. These are my existing bull zones that make sense to me, and we're going to make sure all these charts go into chart hackers for you guys straight after the show. Okay, so short-term ping pong zones, that is what I'm watching. Reminder, tie this all in with your liquidation heat map. This is the 1 month that I'm watching, and look how much liquidity we have here to the upside. Everything up to just under 90K, so 89,300, 89,400. That region is still very juicy. So look out for a pump into that zone and then a monster rejection. Now I'm going to cover that in a little bit more detail on the Bitcoin daily chart for you guys. And then you're going to understand a lot of my thought process behind why we are looking at some possible reversals now on some of these altcoins in spite of things looking so good at the moment on paper. You know, they're looking really nice. So when you see my idea behind this BTC, it is going to start making sense to you guys. Now, let's look at, one of the things that's actually going on at the moment is he's finished. He's finished playing with his Easter eggs or whatever. So Trump was live, and we actually thought we'd catch him saying a couple of things. So he's done now. In terms of liquidations, $230 million wrecked in the last 24 hours. So we're still at rookie numbers here, nothing serious, and quite surprising. I actually would have thought there'd be more shorts than 170 million wrecked, but we know there's been a ton of shorts building up, and I suspect if we blow through 89.90, then you're going to see some big numbers. Then you're going to see real numbers coming out there for the bears getting rinsed to the short side. But anyone feeling like this at the moment, amazing. You can get abused for weeks at a time in crypto, and fuck me, they give you a tiny little move, 1.3%, 4%, and we're all hugging again, and we all forgotten the bad times and the pain, and it's just like we're on the up train now, feeling good, feeling bullish. Are they going to come and ruin this for us? So one of the guys, obviously, that can ruin this for us, and I just love this so much. I wanted to use this again today. I'm going to eliminate capital gains. Capital gains taxes, right? And that is still actually happening. If you're in the S&P today, it's an absolute shit show with what is going down. So we're going to look at those S&P charts. But what has happened now after the 3-day Easter weekend? Number one, no trade deals announced. Okay, not good. Bearish. Trump publishes his non-tariff cheating list. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that. Then Trump says those who criticize tariffs are bad at business. 79 days remaining in the reciprocal tariff pause. What's going to happen, in the 79 days? So not a very eventful weekend in terms of the bullish news we wanted, but crypto seems to be doing okay. Now, this is quite a big one. Japan's Prime Minister says Japan won't just keep conceding in U.S. tariff talks. If Japan concedes everything, we won't be able to secure our national interest. The market is now realizing a Japan deal is a distant bet. Okay, it's not good for the S&P. We're seeing a little bit of a meltdown there. Then just a wake-up call for those just to understand this tariff situation a little bit better. Another Boeing 737 MAX heads home as the tariff war hits turbulence. A second Boeing jet meant for China is flying back to the U.S. because no one's paying $55 million plus 125% in tariffs just to take delivery. China slapped the tax after Trump jacked his tariffs on imports to 145. So now a plane coming out of America to China is subject to the Chinese tariff of 125%. So it's wrecking businesses left, right, and center here at the moment. And what is Zen going to buy? What is Zen looking for here in the chat? What is she looking at?
No, you're going to buy the plane, I think is what she's saying.
Oh, we're working on that. If this link long plays out, we should be good. Okay, we should be good. Please set it up. I need a Boeing, guys. Okay, let's go. So the businessman who he says the businessman who criticized tariffs are bad at business, according to Trump. So we're actually working on getting this in a beautiful Trump voice for us. So we're going to start reading his tweets in a wonderful Trump voice. I'm working on some action for you guys. But basically, he's saying nobody understands what's going on, and you're all dumb if you don't get it. Okay, so that's basically the assessment. Then a little bit of bullish news here. He's talking about the Russian and the Ukrainians sorting themselves out. A little bit of bull spice there. That can help the markets a little bit for us. And then 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 reporting something interesting. Now, we know we've been watching the US 10-year and 30-year yields rising. And the last time the Trump administration came out for the pause on tariffs, it was because the 10-year yield was pumping a little bit too hard. And we are pushing up again. And what we're looking at here, according to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, he thinks Japan are selling US debt. Now, remember, when treasuries are sold, the yields go up. That makes sense. This explains the huge move up in Japanese M2 money supply and the strength of the yen at the moment. So that's an interesting one, pushing the yields up. And then we can take a look at global liquidity here. China, Japan, and EU M2 money supply is all going up. Okay, so things are looking interesting there. And now S&P going down. Okay, not looking good at the moment. This thing is bleeding. I'm looking at the weekly chart here, but all we want to do as bulls is to see the S&P hold the 4,800 zone, and we'll deal with it as we go. But 4,800, that is the one we're watching. Then in terms of some stocks that we want to trade this week, I believe Tesla is going to give us something to play with this week. So we've got Tesla earnings coming in hot. When is it? Tomorrow. Yes. Tesla tomorrow. Yes, Tesla earnings coming in tomorrow. 213 is my first zone of interest here. So if we bleed out into this type of level leading into Tesla earnings, I think there's decent odds on some kind of bounce. So if the market sells off into earnings, it means they are expecting bad results. They tend to price it in. Whatever the results come out with, maybe they're okay, maybe they're flat, you get some kind of bounce. If the market pumps into results, it means the market is expecting or pricing in some good earnings. Good earnings come out. What happens? It sells off afterwards. So at this rate, we're looking for some kind of bounce play on Tesla into earnings. So tomorrow we'll see where we are. But right now, 215, 213, looking like a bounce zone there for me on Tesla. We might want to get long there if we start hitting that tomorrow during the opening. And then NVIDIA shares drop 3% as Huawei prepares mass shipments of its advanced 910C AI chip for Chinese customers as early as next month. Okay, so competition to NVIDIA, obviously. And just last week, the US restricted exports of NVIDIA's H20 chip to China. So NVIDIA is going to be under a bit of pressure for the time being, but in terms of where can this thing bounce, in terms of interesting zones that we can trade together on BTCC, well, for me, it's still this 92 zone. That is going to be bounce zone number one. And then lower down, I've got 77, 78. So let's just give this a little bit more time. Let's give it till tomorrow, Wednesday. Let the market digest this sell-off on NVIDIA. And then we're going to look for some kind of bounce on this thing. We're going to try and play a 10, 15% bounce on NVIDIA. You'll probably find it comes out with some tariff news as well. And then we get a nice move of support on a lot of things. So NVIDIA, you can see we're printing reversals here on the weekly chart as well. So it could be a bounce coming, guys. So 92 makes sense to me. And then we've got 77, 78, down to 76. Looking for a bounce. Remember, we're going to trade these ones on BTCC. Now, I haven't taken a trade in a while since we got those bounces in the last pump from Trump. So now we're waiting patiently here on BTCC. You can see my account's ready. I'm locked and loaded here and waiting to take these trades. If you want to trade stocks on BTC with me, BTCC, you send your crypto there and you literally trade Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, all the fun things, okay? And we could trade it on 20x leverage, okay? So there is a link in the show description for you guys. Now, this thing is scary. The golden rule of negotiating and success says, he who has the gold makes the rules. Now, I don't know if it's coincidence, but gold did start pumping, or it was pumping while this was going on. And this was Trump obviously talking about, I'm assuming he's talking about he's holding all the gold. So I would assume a lot of the other countries are holding tons, literal tons of gold as well. But in terms of what happens next on gold, Chaos has actually got a couple of opinions on it too. For me, I'm maintaining we're going to get a beautiful gold short. It's just tricky for me now trying to catch the timing after the latest pump. I'm keen to hear. Chaos, you got some thoughts on gold? Where are we? Talk to me.
Hey. Yeah, so listen, people have been chatting about gold since, where are we, 2700, going, oh, we're nearly at 3 grand. You know, 2 months later, we're sitting at 3421, which is absolutely mental. It's the same conversation I was having when gold was 2 grand. So you should never be surprised with gold that it will continue to screw you over in every way possible. Looking at what I've got on the screen now, and I can show it you can show it now by all means. There we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
So listen, I can't give you a trade now on gold, but what I can tell you is the way that I do trade gold is while we're in a bullish market, I generally trade the longs. Okay. So that you get a buy there, you get a buy there. We've had a buy there. What essentially I'm doing is I'm taking, let's say, from there to the sell point, 6% on a 10x. That's a lovely move. And the same again here. What I would say to anybody that's watching this is while you're in a bullish market, which we are for gold, there's no point in trying to catch the shorts because the short's going to give you 0.25%, whatever it is, or a 1%, and it's just not worth it. By the time you've paid your fees, the best way to look at this thing is find your entry based on whichever indicators you like to use. In Chart Hackers, I'll be putting this trade pretty much every single day now in our gold channel as it develops. And then what I'm looking for next is the next sell, and I won't take the sell, but what I'll expect the sell to do is just give us a little bit of a pullback, and we know it's coming because if you look here, this peaked, we pulled back. This peaked, a little bit of divergence, but we pulled back. We're peaking again now. What I'd like to see is a sell appear, just a small pullback, just a couple of percent bullish pullback to this previous support level. And if we get a buy, this is where we are going to absolutely print dollars. Okay, so that's
So
the
you
move that
think
we're
gold's going even higher?
Well, I would say it shouldn't do. But look, you're not going to change your mind. You don't break a trend. The trend is your friend, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard that a million times. You can see the longs are paying for us to go on holidays. Until they stop doing that, I will continue to go long. So, yeah, we might go higher. If we get a clear reversal.
I'm going to make it my mission to find the short on gold. I'm gonna catch this fucking gold short. I promise you, I'm gonna catch this thing. Okay, well, we keep looking. So, guys, there's the view. Okay, upward trend. He's not wrong. Okay, the trend is your friend, right? The trend until the trend breaks. Then we look for shorts. Yes, but is it actually fun? Okay, that's the question. Can't we catch the top of gold? I literally want to catch the top of gold. Okay, so my mission to you guys, my commitment to you guys is I'm going to try and help you catch the top of gold, and we're going to trade it together. Okay, and then Chaos is going to help you catch the bounce on when it comes back. Okay, but one of those moves is going to be the literal top of gold, like for a long time. Okay, so it's coming. Okay, Chaos, a little bit of gold spice. Now, guys, we're talking BTC. Then I've got altcoin setups. Chaos has got tons of alts for you as well. So buckle up, get the popcorn, get your trading shit ready, because we got lots to talk about here. We got an important meeting happening right now. Okay, this is the plan on BTC, and Mia says she wants to liquidate me on some gold. Come on, Mia. Come on. Okay, let's go. BTC on the daily. This is what I'm talking about. This is the big plan now. This is the big move, and we are finally here. Is this going to play out? Are we going to get some bearish news out of the US now, and are we going to reject at major resistance? So this was my plan. This is what I'm looking at on BTC. Some kind of fake out here to the upside in the rejection zone. If this plays out, that could be the start of a big push to the downside. And like I was saying the other day, I still quite fancy a higher low inverse head and shoulders down at the 78K region. That makes a lot of sense to me at the moment. If we do reject in that zone, I do expect the tariff situation to be sorted out somewhere there before we pump again. So in terms of my current game plan, I'm remaining short in BTC in this current area. I think any pushes into even 90K, 9,900, you can see we've got wicks there, we've got the 100-day MA. That is a little bit of a bear zone for me. So look for the fake out there, then looking to short this thing or add to that short as well, and see if we can get this one a little bit lower. So that is my plan number one. Now, what if my plan fails and they squeeze us? What if the plan fails and Bitcoin starts absolutely ripping now this afternoon? What is the backup play? Where do we go to next? So what you need to know is you want to identify your big resistance zones, your obvious areas. And for me, those obvious zones here for BTC are 94.5 and then the big one at 98.9. Okay, so if there's some kind of monster squeeze out of BTC, which I'm personally not looking for, if it happens, 94,500, 98.9, those are going to be potential rejection zones as well, hard rejection zones, and possible bear zones, possible short zones for you. And why are these zones important if you only trade altcoins? Well, if BTC starts ripping and pumps into one of these rejection zones, make sure you're watching your altcoins, which will most likely be sitting at some kind of resistance. And then you got to make sure that you are playing your alt safe, whether that's a TP or a head short on your altcoins or tightening up your stops. Because if Bitcoin bangs hard into a resistance zone and rejects quite strongly, these alts are going to feel the burn. These alts are going to get properly hurt to the downside. So just be careful with that. Mark these levels on your charts. Remember, all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. You'll have access to all of them, including Chaos, and the entire team is obviously in there, and he will sort you guys out with his charts that you see as well. Okay, let's go into altcoins. Is it altcoin season yet? No, it's still Bitcoin season, and as long as dominance is pumping like that, we know it's going to remain Bitcoin season. So here we are, a massive dominance pump. I'm looking at the dominance chart on the 12-hour, and we are moving into now a major weekly region. Now, I'm calling this a region because I don't have an exact pinpoint for you, but we know we've got weekly candle wicks in this area. This is a very strong area for us in terms of the weekly, and we most likely get another reversal in this type of zone. And if we keep it super simple with dominance, we can see that dominance is trending up, and at the moment, and at some point, this thing is going to break down to the downside. So you can see we've got a wedgie situation here. So maybe we keep pushing up, but I think eventually we're going to get something along those lines on dominance playing out for us. and that is going to give us some kind of alt relief or some kind of alt pump. Now, ideally, in a perfect world, with Bitcoin sitting around where it is, if it starts floating in these zones, we might see some proper bullish moves on these altcoins. And I just want to give you guys this chart one more time as a possible bull scenario. What I want to show you is what could be pretty bullish for these alts is some kind of flag on BTC underneath a major resistance band often results in the altcoins getting bullish and starting to pop. So if we do see a rejection, but not a major rejection, and we see Bitcoin consolidating like that, that could be a proper opportunity here on some of these alts, and this will probably give us altcoins on higher lows, and a lot of those retest entries could start playing out for us. So look out for some of the setups I'm going to give you today. We might have some bullish retest zones here that we can start playing with, and it's an absolute banger. Okay, Dylan says banger, I cut it off. It's a banger. I'll say banger all day. I can also say this.
Juicy, extremely juicy.
Okay, let's go. Oh, we're skipping ETH today. Again, I've taken a break from ETH. I can't talk about ETH until it starts doing something exciting. So I'm having a break from ETH. I hope you guys don't mind. Let's go straight into Sol on the weekly, guys. On the 3-day. What do we have? Sol, bullish divergence on the 3-day. We know that means it could grind a little bit higher. That's good information. Then if we look at that, we can say, okay, cool. Where are we really with Sol in the reality? Are we still bullish? Are we still bearish? Well, for me, I'm bearish on Sol all the way up to 170, 180. It just depends on what that bear looks like. Is it a sexy bear or not so sexy bear? I know James is quite bearish on things completely as well. And he's going to like 140 rejection zone, 160 rejection zone, 170 to 180. These are all bearish zones for me that could ultimately send Sol back to the 80 level, back to the 69, those types of levels. So no changes there for me on Sol. That's the look at the moment. That is kind of what I'm going for. Now let's look at it on a lower time frame, and let's try and assess where we are after a pumpy weekend, after another pump overnight for me, for people in my time frame. We've had a nice pump again on a lot of altcoins. Is it time now to have some kind of breather? So let's start with Sol. I've got 𝗬𝗰𝗍 for you. I've got BONK coming. I've got Render. I've got 𝗬𝗍𝗱. I've got 𝗬𝗰𝗍𝗶. Link. Chaos has got XRP. He's got it coming in. So, he's super pumped about that. But let's go Sol. So what information do I have at the moment? Sol on the 8-hour. You can see my oscillator is starting to print reversals. I'm getting a spider web effect here at the moment, and this is looking a little bit tired. So one of the easiest ways that you can track this or some reversal is to look at a rising trend that we can see over here. You can see that oscillator is getting tired. And what does that tell me? It says if Sol starts dipping down in this region and closes under this trend, we might be in for a little bearish period. Now, we don't know how long this bearish period could last. Ideally, we don't want to see it less than, say, 124. That's about the max for me. But right now, still got some Sol bearishness sitting here in me. So if we lose this trend, guys, 124 is going to be the bullish buy zone for me. That's kind of what I like to see at best case. Okay, so Chaos, I don't know if you're covering Sol today, but for me, 124, that's the big one. And then lower down, guys, 113. This guy is going to be our emergency parachute zone. 113 is what we're going to be watching there. And Sol, $60. At Sol at 60, Zolani is probably rinsed. I think a lot of people are going to be rinsed at $60 Sol, bro. Okay, so guys, track this trend on Sol. If it's going to turn bearish, it's going to lose this trend, and we are going to start drifting lower. So 124 for me if Sol falls over. And in terms of possible short scenarios, well, you can see this is a zone of interest now for us for potential shorts on Sol. And if we do pump higher, I do have one more area, but I think by the time it hits this, we're going to have that kind of, we're going to have a bullish reversal at least. Okay, so the next big zone, 147 to 152, that area hasn't changed. So it's one more pump, one more squeeze out of Bitcoin. Does it send these alts a bit higher? And then do they reject? So right now, bearish on the 8-hour, not the best look at the moment. Buy zone for me, 124. Watch that area. That's going to make the most sense to me. Now, let's talk a couple of things. Most importantly, let's talk 𝗬𝗍, because I got absolutely rinsed on a 𝗬𝗍 short yesterday. They pumped me up so hard, I had to cut that thing. And now is the short on? So maybe I'm a sucker for pain. I mean, maybe, but here I am. Okay, I've got Tower short running. I've got Render short. I've got Bonk short. I'm going to cover this for you. I've got a 𝗬𝗍 head short running here on LBank at the moment. And right now I'm long on AVAX, 𝗬𝗍, and SOL. So I'm long SOL 86,000, 𝗬𝗍 92,000, AVAX 41,000, and then I've got some hedge plays. Obviously, my BTC short here, I've added a little bit to that one. If it does start popping higher, we'll have to deal with cutting it, you know, in appropriate places if it gets stupid. But that is where I am at the moment on LBank. Now let's cover a couple of these shorts, and I was quite glad to hear 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗃 was also feeling a little bit bearish, because it actually gave me a little bit of confluence there on some of these shorts that I'm looking at. So let's start with some of these things. So 𝗬𝗍 is obviously one that I was building last week and looking for big things. And I was very disappointed this weekend where I was short 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗃, and 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗃 actually stopped me out, and my 𝗬𝗍 that I had massive size on hardly did anything. It was very disappointing. So then overnight, 𝗬𝗍 has now woken up. So what I want to do is just give you guys a weekly, a 3-day view and a degen view on 𝗬𝗍. So a little bit of work needs to be done for 𝗬𝗍. In the current area that it is, it's actually technically bearish on the 3-day chart. We are below the 50-day moving average. And what does that mean for me? Well, when we're below the 50-day MA, it acts as resistance for us, and that generally rejects us when we start pushing up into these types of areas. So you can see whenever we push into the 50, we tend to get a rejection. So right now, 𝗬𝗍 is pushing into the 50. We need to be careful. So when 𝗬𝗍 blows through the 50-day MA, that is where we can start maybe putting bull caps on and saying, okay, we're breaking the 50, the momentum is shifting, and we're going to use that 50-day MA as support. So the ideal scenario is, number one, if you're not in a 𝗬𝗍 position, either wait for a pullback to try, or wait for later on. This thing can pop up and you're still going to get an opportunity on a 50-day retest. Why? Because we've seen a lot of these other altcoins that have already broken the 50-day MA have successfully retested it last week. We had a bearish situation last week after the alts broke through the 50, and a lot of them sat back on that 50 and bounced off it. So if we do get a break now on 𝗬𝗍 through the 50, we're going to have another trade later on. So don't panic, and that is at about 2.3 that we're going to be watching. So in terms of the bigger charts, the 3-day upside targets here, number one, let's break through the 50-day MA. 2.3 is a big zone. Then possible targets, 2.76, 3.1. Okay, so 𝗬𝗍's got work to do, and then short-term pullback, and this would be a bullish pullback for me, is got to be down to about 1.99, which is what you're going to be watching. Now, let's look at a degen play, and this was obviously, it was painful for me. I sat in this thing for 4 or 5 days, building a position. Everything else was popping. 𝗬𝗍 was doing absolutely nothing. So relieved, I'd say, to say the least, that it eventually did start moving, and this gives us a possible degen setup. Now, remember, there's going to be multiple time frames that we can play with over here, but in terms of a degen play, if there's going to be continuation on the small 4-hour time frame that I'm now watching, and we have a medium-sized dip on the market, but positive news coming out of the States, then I'm expecting 𝗬𝗍 to hold this bull zone, and this bull zone is 2.18 down to 2.12 for some kind of short-term pop. Now, that can obviously materialize or turn into something a lot bigger later on. But step one, guys, step one for the bulls, let's hold this zone. Any pullbacks here, let's see if 𝗬𝗍 can hold down to 2.12 for a bullish bounce. If we get that, then there's a possibility that we're going to blow that 50-day. You can see here's the 50. We're going to blow that 50, and we're going to come back. We're going to buy this thing with confidence later on as support if we come back and retest it. So if we get an explosive headline out of the States or something like that, I'm expecting a retest and a proper pump. So bull zone, guys, 2.19 down to 2.12, looking for a bullish buy over there, and typical rejection off the current 50-day MA. Okay, so I'll put this in hackers for you guys. Then if these levels fail, remember, we've got a lot of work to do to the downside. We're going to start looking at 2. We're going to start looking at things like 1.8. But let's first get through this retest. Let's say in the next 24 hours, if this zone gets absolutely rinsed, okay, then by tomorrow, we'll at least have a picture as to where this thing is going. And we might then be looking at that 1.86 zone. Okay, so that's the game plan there for 𝗬𝗍. Let's go BONK. Is it time for a BONK short? So guys, I took BONK as a hedge play. I also gave it to hackers earlier today. today, it was basic TA for me. We were looking at a bear flag building up here. We were looking at two trends in the way, and I've marked it here on the chart, top of bear flag and trend resistance, and possible head short with about 2 to 3% risk in this zone. So this is still potentially on. If you guys are interested in taking a BONK short here, you can see I've printed bearish divergence. I've got my magic blue dot. I've got two reversal prints. It's looking messy there, okay, on the 2 hour. Now, remember, on the 3-day, a lot of these charts look like they want bigger upside. And this takes me back to the point where we're actually looking for a bullish retest. So we're not looking for a short to send things to zero. We're looking for a short-term short that we can hopefully buy up later. So just a reminder, we've got bullish divergence here on the 3-day on BONK. So not necessarily the worst or the most bearish looking token, but in terms of a possible short-term zone, we might see this BONK at 108 if there's a market meltdown. And that would be also not an unreasonable play here for this thing, because all this is at the moment is a bear flag. And if we lose this bear flag, well, what happens is you're going to drop down to the 50, probably bounce up, retest. And if the market is still bearish, then there's going to be pressure on some of these things, and they might start losing things like that 50-day MA and putting us under a lot of pressure. So we're going to be watching this bearish divergence, 4 hour, 2 hour. It could be playing out for us. The water whisperer is in the house. Was that the lady that was in the workshop just now at the gym skipping? It might have been. It might have been. Okay, yes. She was doing the Accelerator School workshop with us, and she was skipping while she was doing it. That's dedication. Okay, guys, so there's the BONK hedge play. Okay, so I'm sitting in this BONK short at the moment. Let's see if it plays out. It's still early days, and we need to give these things a bit of time, but the signs are there on these oscillators that we may be getting a reversal. It's obviously going to wreck my long. That is why I'm trying to hedge short here with the idea that we get a bullish bounce. Okay, we get some kind of short-term bounce on this thing. Okay, Chaos, I'm nearly ready for you, bro. Shall we do render or Bittenser, or shall we do both? Okay, yes, bull zones, guys. Anyone want to trade render and Bittenser, Tao? Okay, I'm calling them the twins at the moment. They were outperformers this weekend. And in terms of bullish bounce zone, okay, so I've written on the chart, super bullish pullback zone. These are going to be your, they semi-degen, okay, because that kind of move isn't normally enough to reset an 8-hour oscillator and things like that, but it might be enough to reset the 2 hour. Look at this. Our 2 hour is already halfway down. So it could be, it could be a short-term dip before we get a bounce on render. But what I've got for you guys, you can see render looks just like tower at the moment, rejecting the 100-day moving average. It's now trying to close underneath that, and that could tell us that we potentially want to drift a little bit lower. So any new longs on render for me makes the most sense at 4.15 and 3.85. Those are the two potential degen zones here. You can see I've got a little VWAP action as well. So expecting a reaction, 4.15, 3.85. Just be patient. Let it come down to you there. That could be a bounce and might be a nice reversal play on the 2 hour. Could give us a 5, 10, 15%, depending how the market reacts when we do get that reversal. But that oscillator is nearly there for us. It's halfway down, so give it some time. Could be a bit of fun there on render. And then same one for me on Tao. Now, Chaos, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this Tao oscillator, because it looks like absolute dog shit to me in terms of the reversal prints. In terms of the money flow, it's still pretty strong, but I would say this thing's looking bearish now from what I'm normally looking for. So I've got overbought here. I've got the heat indicator. I've also got my blue dot printing. I've got double divergence. I mean, I've got quadruple divergence, reversal prints everywhere. It's screaming reversal on tower, okay, like literally screaming at us here. So in terms of a long in this region, for me, it would be a very difficult long. It would be a challenging long from this type of level. So again, I'm leaning short once again. Hopefully they're not going to come and rinse me. They rinsed me last night. And why are you nodding your head? Did you enjoy me getting rinsed last night, sir?
I want to say the words "I told you so." Am I allowed to say that? I'm going to show you this chart. I'm going to show you this chart.
Fell over, right? Here it is. Okay, show me what you got. Show me what you got.
So I feel a little bit. I mean, I've got render, I've got Tao. All the way you've been talking through these, I've got Solana as well. I've brought them all up. Do you remember last night when I drew this circle, because there was an order block coming across here, and I said to you, "This is your entry point for the short." there's where it's going to come to. Here's the support level, which is the previous support. There's your bounce zone for the next long. Do you remember me showing this you last night?
So what is that bounce level?
So this level, so look, this hasn't changed from last night. So it pinged it perfectly, which was obviously a bit lucky. We're looking at 284.
284. Okay, I can work with that. I see Jason says Tars on the blacklist now. I concur. Okay, like I'm really pissed off. It was a nice long that I closed too early, then tried to short it, got absolutely caned, and here we are again. So, okay, I agree with that. So semi-bearish for now. Okay, still bullish, looking for a bounce on Tao. Let me add my screen here. This is the zone, guys. Okay, so nice confluence here. I've even written it. You see how nicely I write these things for the hackers here. The chart hackers, they get little details on the charts. We make it so pretty for you. And 280, guys. VWAP in the zone, 0.5 fib horizontals. Lots going on there. I expect this 2 hour to be done by then. So let's see if we get that meltdown, somewhere there, reversal, and then we get our next play on this tower. Okay, look at the volumes coming down as well. Okay, so there's signs.
The cash flow that you've just drawn a line on there, that thick green bar that goes through the oscillator, that is, in my opinion, the biggest telling point, and it's flowing firmly down to the out to the downside. So it looks, it's not definite. Nothing's definite, but this is looking like it's going to play out the way we've drawn.
Okay, guys, there you go. That's what it's going to look like. You could probably get away with 3 to 5% risk. Wait for it to get in that zone. If you're in chart hackers, you'll obviously get updates from me because I look at these things daily, and we'll be tracking these things. So a move like this could take a couple of days to get to that zone. So we'll see how it goes. But 280, somewhere in that region makes a bit of sense to me on Tao. We'll get that one in hackers for you. Now, this is where I need chaos. Okay, am I about to wreck myself on Link? Okay, so I'm 125,000 long on Link. Okay, it's nice, it's looking good. I've got a hedge short open. Okay, I've now got a 34k hedge short on Link. Peppy from yesterday cooking 65 long. I've got 14 hedge short at the moment. I'm keen to see what Chaos has to say, and then I want to look at WIF and those types of things as well. So here's my current Link plan. Okay, I'm looking for a bounce at around about 13, including trend. That's the most bullish I can do. Okay, that's me holding trend for Link and holding quite a solid area. So I don't want to go much lower than even 12.8 as a max for me. And that's going to obviously be a stretch with this oscillator because you can see Link is already close to that area, and we've got a little bit more downside on the oscillator. So what do you got for me? Okay, where are you sending me?
Okay. All right. So I'm slightly yeah. Okay, so I'm on. Enjoy your trip to hell, my friend. I'll see you there. Okay, the 8-hour chart, just slightly more zoomed out than you. This has literally just turned, like now. Okay, you can see that in this descending channel, the midline has been respected a lot. 1, 2, I'll grab the old pen. There you go. You can see them, guys. The amount, that one, technically it blew through, so we won't draw those. But, you can see there that there was you can see how many times we've essentially pinged this region. Now, at this point, Quantum Reactor, okay, has met us at this region. At the same point that we've got a straight up reversal, and it's even labeled as a reversal. So listen, listen, I mean, let's just dive slightly deeper. Okay, as an indicator, this thing has given us slightly later long, so we've entered the long there, but it's picked the short perfectly. Okay, same again, we didn't quite get the bottom, we've got the long there. If you get an S turn up on this chart prime indicator, you're gonna have to swallow your pride and close it. Sorry to say, I mean, look how many times we've hit this. That isn't to say that it fools you and it does that and then it blows through and does that and then carries on. We know that's possible.
But this time is different.
Of course it is. It's always different. But you've got to work with what you've got. I mean, look, you don't even need me to draw stuff. Look how fucking...
No, it's disgusting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Okay, so guys, this is the brilliant thing okay, we know Bitcoin is sitting at major resistance. And now look at Link, major resistance. Literally, is this time different, or are we like being ridiculous and do we get the big rejection? So that is why I'm saying, you know, we at a big resistance zone. We should be looking for a rejection on BTC. And that is again why we're looking for shorts now on some of these tokens. You can see I'm covering my ass with Link here in case it falls over for these exact reasons. Michael says 𝗵𝗵𝗵 is the new gold. Well, let's talk 𝗵𝗵𝗵 as well. So guys, just to finish the Link situation, okay, 2 hour chart, ideally 13 to 12.8. I would love a bounce there. Okay, let's look at the daily chart. Let's just see what our oscillator is doing here. Oscillator on the daily looks okay. Cash flow coming up, still pushing. There's a couple of things that maybe, you know, something is going to go in our favor here, and we do break through some resistance. Let's look at our 3-day. Okay, 3-day, it's a bullish divergence, but you can see our cash flow is actually trending down at the moment. So that's not necessarily the best one. In terms of upside targets on Link, you know, and also it depends on the time frame we're playing. It can easily go to 14.3. It can go to 15.8 before there is some kind of monster reversal, but we're going to need help from BTC. Okay, so if you are looking for a Link position, okay, one of the options is a hedge potential short here. You can see this thing is starting to drift a little bit lower. 50-day MA is going to be your exit zone. So you can use the 50-day MA. If you close above that, it's turning bullish again. In terms of a potential rejection, you can see this is always a nice guide on these altcoins. Possible rejection area could be lower than Link. If it starts losing trend, and I'm talking closing under 13, starting closing at like 12.6, somewhere around there, then you're teeing up pretty bearish on this thing, and we're going to be hunting levels lower down. Okay, so the signs are there from Chaos. Major rejection in the way. We can also see 50-day MA here, and Panda's busy shorting Myro. As you can see, Panda's in the chats from Hackers. He's one of our 𝗙𝗍𝗆𝗍 squad members there, and he's shorting Myro. Panda, if you are shorting it, give the entries and everything there for everybody in the chats. Okay, guys, that's my bullish plan for Link. Covered on the head short. Candle close above 13.7 tells me we're going up to the next zone. 14.3 is the next target on Link, and then you're looking at, say, 15.8 as the next upside target. Okay, so bullish as long as that trend is holding. Let's go PP. Let's talk PP. Okay. This was one of them from yesterday. Okay, Harsh Rana says 𝗵𝗵𝗵. Yes, so I like this a lot. Okay, I really believe one bullish sniff out of the markets, and 𝗵𝗵𝗵 and these altcoins start ripping, including the S&P and everything else that's under pressure. So we're just waiting for that nice catalyst, but it's nice to see the alts doing things and, you know, getting things going at the moment. In terms of the 3-day bullish divergence, double bullish divergence print, and we can still remain bearish on the whole altcoin market by just using 𝗵𝗵𝗵 as a guide, literally, because you can see, even if we get a bullish pump out of this thing, you're looking bearish anywhere at 93, you're looking bearish at 107. Those are all big bear zones. It's just retests of a major trend, and pretty bearish there to the downside. And then we might see much lower levels there on these things. Okay, so 𝗵𝗵𝗵, guys, if you're in it, 717, that is your 50-day moving average. That is your main support that you can use. Upside, the targets are there on the chart. We'll get that for you in Hackers, but I did cover this one yesterday. Chaos, how bearish on a scale of 1 to 10 are you on PP?
I've actually not charted that one today.
You had it. Okay.
No, I haven't got that one, bro. I've got loads more. Sorry.
It's fine. Okay. I'm keen to hear. I'm excited to hear your XRP situation. But let's talk WIF, guys. Here's some entries for WIF, and these are bull entries for WIF. So the condition is we need to be, or the market needs to remain bullish. If the market absolutely shits the bed and we get some more macro disasters, things are going to fall over, and brace yourself for that. Okay. If it doesn't, now, if we get bullish news out of the States, what do we want? We want a pump in the altcoins, and you typically want a clean retest and a bounce. Okay, so that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. So in terms of bullish zones for me on WIF, 423 and 40 are making the most sense for possible bounce zones, and these are reasonable bull zones here. This is not getting like turbo bullish here. It's like medium term bullish. So we're looking for a 382 or a 618 dip. 423 and 40. Want to just point out, okay, our first sign of some kind of reversal. Just want to show you a couple of things here. When you do get these reversal prints, sometimes there is more momentum. So that is why I'm saying just look out. It doesn't mean it's the end immediately. Okay, so there was that divergence and we did pump a little bit higher. So we've got our first one here. Can we get a little retest and then some kind of pump? And that would tie in quite nicely with what happened here in that region over there. So that would be a little dip and then a bang up through that region. Then we can look at that divergence playing out on a bigger scale, a little bit higher up. But simple as this, if it's going to stay bullish, guys, you don't want to lose 423 at an absolute push. You don't want to lose 4. Those are the zones. Okay, look for longs there until proven otherwise. Okay, you lose the trend. Okay, and then things start getting bearish and start falling over. And then notable again, another altcoin rejecting on the 50-day MA. Okay, lots of these, and when we break through, they are supports for us. Okay, Chaos, are we short XRP, sir?
I've got NEAR and I've got XRP, both absolute bangers for you. Do you want XRP first or NEAR? Or...
I would love to short XRP. I'm sure James would love to as well. James, are we shorted?
Never.
Never. Okay, it's a must. Okay, let's see.
In that case, this is... Can you see this all right? Yeah, this is XRP. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is actually quite straightforward. I've not made this any more complicated than very simple. We've got a descending channel, okay, which started back in 19th of March. So it's a month long. Within this channel, we've obviously hit the midline multiple times. We've hit the bottom once. Just to clarify, this is not a brilliant channel because we've only tapped once, okay? But nonetheless, still a pattern. What we've currently got is we've currently hit our head on the absolute top once again. At the same time, our, once again, RSI has given us a gooseneck, okay? Which is essentially just a way of saying we've peaked, we've turned, we're facing down, and we changed colour. Okay, so there's your little gooseneck, which signifies a pullback in the RSI, the relative strength. That signifies, well, that actually kind of links up quite nicely with the fact that we've got the midline once again, okay, which is down here, and that level is 179 to 180 roughly. We're going to have to see what candles print, okay? Because at this point, it is still possible to bounce off the point of control, which is this red line that runs through, okay? And we actually get a reaction. So although this is not a clear-cut short, much like the chart I showed earlier, this to me is let's wait and see what happens here. So I've actually got a short running on this. Currently 18% up. I just took a quick look at it. I only entered here. It's on quite high leverage. I've set a stop loss in profit, so I'm expecting to be stopped at any time. What I'm actually going to do is if we tap this, I will see what the next few candles do and what this RSI does. But at this point, I'm looking for either a bounce off there to go long.
I'll take an isolated short if you tell me. Just give me the entry, give me the exit.
Okay,
come, guys.
Look, the isolated
together. Come.
There you go. Look, you're short now. You're short now, bro. I mean, if you look at this, you're in the band. So you're short now at 2.12, whatever it is, 2.11.
Okay, talk to me. How much leverage? What am I doing here?
Well,
okay, I'm going to make it isolated.
You definitely make it isolated. I don't know. I've got a 14 running.
Okay, I'll go 15x leverage.
Yeah, 400x leverage, please.
What leverage are you using? Okay, so
I've got 14 going.
So can I enter now, or do I have to wait for a little pump?
I have. I mean, I'm up a little bit. What you could do, let's just take it down to the 15 minutes just before we ape in. Hold on. Let's wait for this to load. All right, let's take a look at this. Here's
XRP down.
Here you go. Look. So here's the 15-minute, guys. I'm just doing a bit of live charting for you now. We can see we're just at the moment trending up, which is fine. Looking at the cash flow, we've been positive. We've come down. We've actually just crossed over the horizon. What I would say, Dylan, is to be absolutely certain you're not going to get smashed live on air now. We've touched this trend line 3 times, okay? The candles have gone from green to multicolored, and they're not, oh, sorry, was I not sharing the screen?
No, I got it.
Okay, so this is the 15-minute chart, right? So we've touched this 3 times. At this point, the candles have gone from green to back to green. Now they're actually fading back to bearish candles. If you lose this line, okay, and we start to do that.
Give me an entry, bro.
Let's
Just
say,
tell me what to do.
Well, look,
we're at entry now.
We're at entry
Okay.
now, 210. But what you want to do is you want to lose it and you want to test it before coming in. You can enter now. But what happens if we bounce bullishly? That's what I'm concerned
Well, then
about.
I get rinsed.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
in that case,
there. I'm entered.
there's your entry. There's your entry.
Okay, I'm entered there. Okay.
For anybody watching this thing, you need to kind of wait for a retest.
Literally sold the bottom. Okay, literally sold the bottom of XRP. Okay, it's isolated. Where do I get rinsed here? Okay, 2.23 is my liquidation zone there. Okay, so it's XRP 15x. Okay, liquidation there. I'm going to put a stop. Where can I put a stop here? 2.15. I think that's about reasonable.
Yeah, let's take a look.
2.15. Okay. I'm sure we can do a bit higher than that. Do we need it so tight?
I'm just jumping back to my chart, bro. Give us a moment.
Okay, liquidation. Let's go. Okay.
I just need a minute. Things are loading this end. Here we go. So look, realistically, above the channel is 2.16.
2.16. Okay, let's move that up. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make it 2.17. Okay, let's just give it. Let's give it a chance. You know what I mean? Like let's give it a chance to have one last kick of a dying horse. What do you call that?
Well,
so
we break in now, by the way.
okay, there we go.
We're breaking now.
Did you say add more?
No, I didn't, but you should be in profit already.
Did you? You just said I must add more.
I can't help thinking that's a combination of you and everybody watching.
I can't believe you told me to short more there. I just love XRP so much. I want to send it to zero.
Look at this candle, man.
Okay, there we go.
Look at this candle.
Liquidation coming in hot. Okay, there we go, guys. You got the parameters. You've got the stop loss. What's our target? What's our target there?
Just, man, show my screen again. Look at this. Look at this. Look what's just happened. Look what's happening here. We just broke the line. Down.
Yes, send it to zero. And look, it's going to reverse and pump now. Look at the 5 minutes.
It's you and all these guys.
Divergence.
It's you. It's you. You are the divergence. Okay, cool. So listen, at the very starting point, I mean, realistically, let's just move that down a bit. You've got to at least be aiming for 2.05 and just move the stop loss down as you go. Ultimate point you're looking at is probably going to be 1 point. I'd love to see 1.93. I'd love.
Okay, that's quite deep. Let's go 2.05. Okay, that sounds. I mean, that's quite a small little move there.
But this is the point. If you go 2.04, 2.05. The idea is watch the trade. This is how I tend to trade in Chart Hackers. You guys will see me if you're in there. I tend to move my take profit down. Rather than have a take profit that I act on, what I'll do is I'll move that down and I'll move my stop loss down as the price comes down in our favor. And that's how I like to trade. But yeah.
Okay, I kind of want to send it to zero. I like that 1.9. Okay, I'm going to leave it for now. I'm not going to mark my TP just yet. We want to just see if the short is going to hold now. We've got the reversal there. Okay, cool. Thanks for confirming that I needed to add more there as well. And setting it lower. Okay, let's go. Let's go another one. Let's see what else we got here for you guys. Okay.
Near's good.
We got Link coming down. Oh yeah, you got Near. Okay, let me just give them this. This is a bullish Ondo scenario. Okay, here's your setup. Okay, locked and loaded, guys. 85 down to 835 is your bullish Ondo scenario. Now we got to track the news. Okay, because remember, this is on a lot of these altcoins. This is a bit of a bear flag that could have been a fake out scenario. So just want to paint this picture. A lot of these alts have this at the moment. Okay, so you've gone high, you've got your flag forming here, and then maybe we're going to drop a little bit lower. So just look out for these things. So these are the bull conditions. 85, 835 must hold zone. If that doesn't really hold, look at this candle on Ondo. You're going to see this on a lot of altcoins. Okay, could be some pain coming there to the downside. So just be protected, understand your risks and understand your zone. Remember, ladder into this area so you don't risk your first buy as your max buy. Okay, ladder in slowly, because the lower down you ladder in, the lower your stop loss risk, the less risk there is for you guys. Okay, are we shorting Near?
Yeah.
Okay, show me.
So before the show, I was entering here. Okay, now with Near, even at this point, I believe there's a good 5% to come. However, I want to make you guys look left. So that's what we're going to do very quickly. Here was the previous time when we could have shorted Near. Okay, it actually came back for the stops and then the move came, the lower high, the lower low, and then we got a big move. Okay, so what I'm actually seeing, guys, do not enter this absolute second, okay, because you can pick a better entry. Earlier on, I got in up here. I'm currently up 23% on my trade. Lovely. I want you guys. Oh, I did tell you before the show. You were just busy in the workshop. You guys, you can enter here. I wouldn't. I would wait for this to play out again. So what you want to do, set yourself an entry somewhere in the region of 2.31. Okay, even if it's just an alert, so you can come back, you can check the chart. Now, the reason I'm so bearish on this is, first things first, we were overbought. We had some divergence print. The oscillator gave a bit of a bearish, gave us a bit of a reversal, and then we've gone red, okay? As well as that, the cash flow has peaked, and we're coming down. Now, on the chart, we've got the money flow point of control that runs through the middle here at 2.12, which will be acting as a magnet. We've got this quantum reactor, okay, which quite often acts as a magnet. Price always comes back to the reactor, okay? So the reactor runs through right down at 2.01. It won't be that low when we come to meet it. And then finally, you've got this ascending channel, okay, which is a little bit better than the last one that I showed you on the previous token, because we've tapped this thing multiple times to the top.
When entry?
When entry, let's go look for 2.31. Do not ape in now.
Okay, I'm going to set it now. I'm going to trade this one on VX. Okay, wait. Let me okay, you know what? I got a banger. I got your CAS. Look at this CAS banger here.
You see that?
I've now got. I promised the guys on the next accelerator workshop, I'm going to show them how I got a $37,000 CAS position with $170 of margin
by increasing the position. Amazing.
It's the science of leverage. Okay, now I'm going to take this one on VX. So let's go. Let's go near. Okay. Entry is?
I'm gonna actually come. I'm gonna get yourself around 2.309. Okay, 2.31, something like that.
Okay, 2.31. Okay,
2.31. Your stop loss is 234, 2347 if you want to be precise. You could go 235 if you wanted.
Okay, so stop loss is 2.35
to give yourself breathing space.
2.355. Okay,
and then
cool.
My take profit is in line with the previous support level at 2.156.
Okay, 2.156 is your take profit.
Or you can front run me and do 2.16, whatever you like.
That's cool. And then how much? Let's go 10,000 short. Okay, so now I'm going to lock that entry in. So this is a limit sell order. You can see all these alts now looking like head and shouldery now. Look at this.
This
thing's ready to dump, bro. This thing's going to help.
Yeah, this is a 4-to-1 trade, guys. This is a nice looking trade. Please use stop losses. Don't just trade this thing blind. Seriously.
I think you should.
I'm gonna let me show you one final thing with this, if I may. Take 2 seconds.
There you go.
So you guys, is that my screen? There
we go. There.
Okay. So guys, just take note of this reverse back of it. When you get reversal prints, okay, I want to show you this. Look, so there was the print, came up. We obviously got one massive trade, came up again, probably to stop out the guys from here. You'd be a bit higher. We've got a massive trade, all right? We've got a reversal. We've got a massive trade. You know what I'm going to say next. Reversal, massive trade. Now, this one didn't give us a massive trade. You would have got stopped out at some point here. They don't always work, but out of the last 4, 3 of them have made you somewhere in the region of 30%, 50%. Let's go with 80%. And that's on a 1x, guys. If you're using 10x, you've 800%ed. All right. So just understand that this is a very, very strong reason why it drew my eye today. We got the reversal. I'm essentially looking once again for, I mean, look, I'm only going for 8%. But to the bottom of the channel is 15%. So, you know, it's up to you how far you take it. The trade we've got here is a 4-to-1. But this is a very strong indication that a big trade could come. All right. So we'll keep an eye on it in the hackers, guys.
Okay, well, I mean, that's banger stuff, bro. Really appreciate what you've just done here for us. So you can see chaos leaning bearish based on the indicators. They're saying things are getting exhausted over there. Use that information. And, more often than not, if you backtest the signals and all those things that are there, you're going to see the same pattern forming. So sometimes they're going to pump you one more time. Maybe there's going to be another pump in the market, and then they're going to rinse out some late shorts or whatever. And then eventually it does tend to play out. So time and time again. And this is what he specializes in. He watches these indicators and he's taking the guys through some very relaxing trades. I'm talking spot trades and low margin trades where the guys just take a position, they come back a few days later, grab their profits, whatever. It's a nice relaxing way to do things. So you can find him in the Chart Hackers. Okay, catch him there for more banger stuff. Thank you, sir. James, thank you, sir. Good luck with XRP.
Yeah, you too.
Guys, I don't know. I'm so torn because I'm really got, I've got this inclination that we're going to have some higher lows here and these alts are going to rip. But if they're not, we need to be prepared for the downside. We can't just have a bull hat and say, fuck it, this is it. Okay, so that's why you can see we're banging out some shorts here. XRP makes sense to me. NEO makes sense to me. You can see a couple of others that I'm playing in at the moment. And then obviously have these core longs that we've now grown from some very good hot zones that we secured when things were bearish. Remember, the best entries for me come when the times are really bearish. That's where you need to really be focusing on the information I'm giving you and the shows. Then we get these pumps and then we are in control of the trades. We can add on breakouts. We can look for head shorts. We can play all those games, but we got to do the work when the market is bearish. So guys, that's it for today. You've got longs and shorts. I think you're well covered. Obviously updates all the time in Chart Hackers. Every single day. So if you want more, come and join us there. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Later.
Juicy,